Hey everybody, it's Robot here from Vespa Motorsport in San Diego, California. Right here we got the Genuine Motorcycle Company, same company as Genuine Scooters, who's brought the successful Buddy and Stella scooters over to North America. Now they brought the Genuine motorcycle, G400C. The best part about this motorcycle is the price of admission, $4,600 here in the United States. Comes with a 400cc motor. That's a derivative of the Honda RFVC motor that was used ever since the 80s and the Honda XR400 dirt bike. Very good bulletproof motor. Found its way in some street bikes by Honda back in the day. The best part about this motor versus the original Honda, this motor has the Delphi fuel injection on it. Delphi makes the fuel injection system for most Harley-Davidson motorcycles, a very reputable company here in North America for fuel injection systems. The styling comes straight off the universal Japanese motorcycle from the 70s, i.e. the CB350, CB750, and there's plenty of other ones from other manufacturers. Kind of has a little bit of a British flair to it with the rubber tank insets and a little bit more chrome than you'd find on some of the bikes from the 70s. You got deluxe instrumentation with both a tach, trip odometer, and of course the speedometer. A couple idiot lights, has a fuel level light, which is pretty nice, something you wouldn't find on any of the vintage bikes. Technically on those vintage bikes, if you're not familiar with them, you run out of gas and you got to reach under a tank and flip the petcock to the reserve position to get the last 20 miles. Fuel tank on this bike holds over 3 gallons. Based on my experience with the Honda XR400, same motor, you should be able to get pretty decent range with this bike. I would say an average miles per gallon would be something in the 50 miles per gallon range, so that gives you a range of over 150 miles per tankful. It's useful for touring. I mean, heck, you can go cross country. I have customers on small scooters that go cross country, so why can't you do it on the G400C? Lots of chrome, just like the original Japanese bikes from the 70s, and they're just not chrome plastic bits. Every bit, with the exception of the signals, is metal chrome pieces. So these are stamped steel fenders on it. From what I understand, the front fender is an exact pattern from the CB350 or 400, 450, one of those Honda bikes. Same with the forks. They're patterned after the original forks from the Honda. It's got some other deluxe features you would never found on those old 70s bikes, such as a full stainless steel exhaust. Kind of has the pea shooter style exhaust. Motor looks like a twin. It's a single cylinder. And much like the Honda XR400, it's a 4-valve head on there. And so they divide off the 2 exhausts to kind of give it that twin cylinder look. So it's got pipes on both sides. Also very cool is it comes with aluminum wheels on it. You know, of course with the classic spokes. Disc brake up front, something you wouldn't find on the 70s Hondas of this size until you were probably right in the mid-70s when they started putting disc brakes on a lot of the Japanese motorcycles. And best of all, it's a brand new bike. Comes with a 2-year warranty from a reputable company, Genuine Motorcycles, just like their scooters. 2-year, full warranty on it as long as you do all the service. Pretty simple motorcycle to do service on. Comes with other deluxe features like a O-ring chain. They didn't skimp out on any of the components on this, with the exception of the switch gear. I don't really like it, but I'm always going to pick on some stuff. So, just like its Japanese counterparts, 19-inch front, 18-inch rear, very common wheel size that's found on many classic bikes. Comes with Kenda tires out of Taiwan, pretty decent quality tires for the cost. So my favorite part of any bike is kind of jumping into it, looking to see what it's all about. So I'll take the seat off, take the side covers off, and show you around. So a single fastener holds the seat in place right from underneath the fender. And seat pulls off just like an older Japanese bike, kind of engages into the tank, very standard setup for most motorcycles of this style. You can see the Delphi fuel injection module. My brother's an ex-Harley tech. He said that module looks identical to, the same size and stuff as the ones found on the Harley Davidsons. Got pretty decent harness there. So a nice quality piece on this is the side covers. And they're stamped out of steel, something you would never find on any other modern classic bike. I went and looked at the Ducati Sport Classics years ago, and I was unimpressed. Everywhere on the bike was plastic. Of course, plastic, it's lighter weight, kind of makes sense for modern bikes, but if you're trying to replicate a classic bike, why not stamp it out of steel? Got the battery underneath here, a fuse block. Pretty easy to access if you ever needed to jump start the bike. Then again, if the battery's a little weak, I would say if it's dead, you're probably not going to be able to kick start it, but it does have a backup kick starter. And unlike its closest competitor, the Yamaha SR400, which is a modern day classic bike, this has electric start. SR400, I was like, what were they thinking? No electric start on a modern bike. The kickstart's pretty cool once you get the hang of it. I've been kickstarting motorcycles for a long time, since I got quite a range of classic Vespas and classic motorcycles, but a lot of times it's kind of intimidating kickstarting a thumper single cylinder motorcycle. So I'm about 5'8", fits me pretty nicely, doesn't feel like too small of a bike. I can easily flat foot the bike, nice and lightweight. I think it weighs in right around 350 pounds wet, something like that. Got the side stand on it. Let's fire it up and see what it's all about. So you got the key, which also locks the steering column, which is important when you're parking out, in the open. Got standard controls that are, found on any motorcycle, work just like any other motorcycle. You got the kill switch, got the start button. No choke, no nothing. It starts right up because fuel injected. You see it's got quite a bit of thump to it. It's not obnoxiously loud, but it sounds really good. It's got kind of the classic thumper sound to it. So I can't stress how important it is to have fuel injection on a modern bike. I don't know why anybody would buy a bike with carburetor if on a new bike. Of course, classic bikes, that's what they were all about, but makes them start up much easier. There's no fuss, no problems, always starts up. I've heard of people saying, oh, they don't build them like they used to. Well, thank God. That's the way I think about it. Fuel injection makes them like a modern car where every time it will start up. There's no fumbling with a choke or a fuel tap. It's just the convenience factor is really nice. Of course, if you want something like that, go buy yourself a classic bike, figure it out, tear it down, rebuild it. If you're looking to have something that's just turnkey, ready to go, this is the way to go. Start with a modern bike. Gives you the classic look, but the modern conveniences. One thing to keep in mind, it doesn't have some of the state-of-the-art modern conveniences like ABS brakes. A lot of other bikes of this price range or slightly above this price range, for example, the BMW G400 or the KTM 390, those have ABS brakes, a little bit more deluxe instrumentation with the digital stuff. But it's kind of like an apple to an orange, completely different bike. But the most important feature of any modern bike to me is fuel injection. So I'm going to give you my 5 high points on this bike, along with my 5 low points about it. Number 1 being the price range. $4,600, you sure get a lot of bike for $4,600. And we're not talking a little Suzuki 250, which is priced about the same as this bike. You're getting a 400cc engine that has some good oomph to it, easily can handle freeway traffic. Not really an 80-mile-an-hour bike, but can easily sustain 75 all day. Has the torque to go up hills, take 2 up, no problem. Value, it doesn't get any better. $4,600 for something based on a tried and true Honda design. Pretty good. Second, I would say the style of it. If you're looking for the classic bike, this is the way to go. You got this nice 2-tone paint job and lots of metal work on it. I really like that. Really caught my eye right when I first saw this bike. I didn't know how much metal there would be on it, if it was gonna be real plasticky. Has kind of that old school quality heavy metal feel to it. Of course, a little bit of a pitfall of that is it does make the bike a little heavier. Number 3 would be the fuel injection. Some cheaper bikes still have carburetors on them, and I'll tell you, the way they're jetted nowadays to meet the standards for North America, they're so lean, they're just miserable to ride. They pop, they hesitate off idle. This bike with the fuel injection is perfectly tuned. It's got catalyzers in the pipe. You can ride it just part throttle. There's no hiccups or any type of hesitation that plagues a lot of cheaper bikes that have carburation or even other fuel injected bikes of this price range. Sometimes they skimp on the catalyst and they in turn have to tune the engine much leaner, and it makes for a miserable riding experience, especially at the lower speeds. Number 4 would be the engine design. Of course, based on the XR400 Honda, the RFVC, let me tell you a little bit about it. It's a 4-valve engine. The cylinder head has got a single cam and 4 valves. And I think the acronym stands for Radical 4-valve, I don't know, configuration, something like that. I don't remember. You have to Google that one. But pretty much, it's got a single cam, 4 rockers, and 4 cam followers. So they're able to get the 4-valve configuration out of a single cam. A nice, simple, tried and true design out of Honda, along with the Delphi fuel injection that helps out. And number 5, nice, easy, simple bike to ride, but still has enough pep to keep, you know, an experienced rider that's used to larger bikes happy. Works as well for a beginner. Nice light clutch action, a decent front disc brake. It's got the rear drum, which I wouldn't call a pitfall because you don't really need much braking on the rear, and a drum actually in some ways has lower maintenance. But there you go, there's my 5 highs on the bike. All right, let me jump into the 5 lows. The switch gear kind of looks pretty cheap. I'm just not into it. Why don't they put metal ones on there? The engine finish, that would be number 2. The genuine Honda XR400, even though it was in a dirt bike, it had powder-coated side covers. This thing's just all bare aluminum. So unfortunately, if you left it out in the weather, that aluminum finish, the sandcast finish, which looks pretty cool right now, may start to be oxidized over the years. Same with some of the chrome. You know, that's questionable. I don't know how good the chrome plating is on this bike. You know, if you leave this bike out, I suspect corrosion will get to it. It may look ugly, but you can prevent that if you park it inside, cover it up, wax it frequently. You know, it's all preventable stuff. I see a lot of people, they'll leave nice new products outside and let them rot. You know, I'm kind of into keeping my stuff. Number 3, I would say the braking. I wish it was a little bit stronger, and I wish it didn't have tires with center grooves. You hop on the highways here in California, they have rain grooves in them. So it's a little intimidating when you ride a bike with a center groove. That's obviously easily remedied. The tires are decent quality, it's just with that center groove, it doesn't work very good with California highways, kind of dances around a little bit. It's very stable, it's just that tire design causes some uneasy feel, especially if you're not familiar with riding motorcycles. Number 4, would be nice if it weighed a little bit less, but that again is a pit. You know, if you're using more metal on it, of course it's going to make the bike heavier. If you have more aluminum and plastic, you can have a lighter bike, you know, such as something like the KTM 390. That's probably a lighter bike. I don't know the weight off the top of my head. I have ridden it. It's definitely a sportier bike, has a little, you know, the suspension's more up to date than these just traditional forks that are found on this bike. And number 5, some of the wire routing and stuff, it's a little, I don't know, I guess you could say how you're doing. You know, it's just what you'd expect out of a bike from the 70s. But nowadays, you know, stuff is usually routed a little bit nicer. You know, and I was just, you know, when I PDI'd this first one that we got, you know, I put some extra zip ties to kind of tidy up the wiring a little bit better, especially around the fuel injection. It just, that's a gripe on my end. I don't know if it's going to affect the overall quality of the bike, but it's just one little gripe I got about it. Hope everybody liked my little mini review of the genuine G400C motorcycle. Great bike, I think, for beginners and expert longtime riders alike. Good compact size, easy to ride in the city. It's got definitely more pluses than it's got minuses, especially the price. If you're interested in buying this here in San Diego, you can contact us at Vespa Motorsport, the genuine scooter and motorcycle dealer, 619-280-1718. Until next time, you watch all my other YouTube videos. If you're into scooters, if you're just looking at this motorcycle, maybe you want to go the scooter route. To me, I like motorcycles, I like scooters, I like dirt bikes, I like them all. And my neighbors, they ask me, why do you got so many motorcycles? I said, well, look at your kitchen. How many kitchen knives do you got? You gotta have more than one. So that's kind of my philosophy about two-wheelers. I like them all. So until next time, Robot here.